Hi teachers, this is John Godbey with Teacher Homebuyer Real Estate. Today I'm with Jeff Bednar, who is the owner of Owner Finance Real Estate.
Owner Finance Homes.
Owner Finance Homes. And Jeff is going to tell us about buying a home through his company. It's a very different process than buying through a realtor, which is what I am. He has his own company, and he's going to talk to us about why you might want to buy through him instead of through me. So tell us.
Excellent. So first off, just be real clear, if you've already been pre-approved through a mortgage lender and you've got your pre-approval letter, then absolutely probably your best option is to go ahead and use John and buy real estate traditionally.
Right.
Like
and
that.
If you want to get a teacher grant, then you would do it through me, not through Jeff.
Yeah, teacher grants aren't eligible through us. However, our niche is owner financing. So what we do is we help people out that could not get traditional real estate financing. So what's the minimum credit score you need these days to get a loan?
Usually 640.
640.
Sometimes we can work with people down to 580, but it's 640 is the bottom for a teacher grant.
Got it. So what we do is a little bit different. We can actually finance to just about anybody. What we're looking for is we're looking for good families that can afford homes. Credit score, we do check the credit score, but it's not the only determining factor. We know that times have been tough for a few years, and there's a few people with a couple dings on their credit. Mm-hmm. Multiple foreclosures probably not going to be able to help there. But if you've just got a few dings on your credit and you don't meet the traditional lending criteria, that's where we could step in and help out.
One thing I've noticed, Jeff, is that most teachers have a steady paycheck, and so they aren't cash rich, and yet they're not cash poor. Whereas there are lots of people out there who may do an all-cash business or something like that, and they haven't established credit. Mm-hmm. And so they may be more the people who would use this. So teachers, if you have a friend who has cash but doesn't have any credit, this would be a perfect solution for them.
Yeah, and let me kind of walk through the process. Typically, Typically what happens is someone comes and looks at one of our properties, and you can check our website, which you can put a link to, Owner Finance Online. Typically how an owner finance transaction would work is someone would come in, take a look at one of our properties, say that they're interested in it. We would show and discuss the terms that there are. Once they've agreed to the terms, we would take a little earnest money, and that would lock down the house, so we'd stop trying to sell it to anybody else. After that, our loan approval process is very simple. It's me and my partner discussing the loan. So our underwriting process is two people. We can get an answer back usually within 24 to 48 hours.
That is so different from dealing with a bank.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a horror story a lot of times with a bank.
Our average time to close is anywhere from 8 to 10 days. So what's average in the industry?
45 to 60, I'd say.
Yeah, so we're a little bit different. So if you want to buy a home, we can get in a lot quicker. Another huge advantage about using us is our closing costs. So typically closing costs are for regular real estate transaction would be what, John?
Well, say on a $150,000 house, $5,500 to $7,000, depending on taxes and insurance and everything else.
So typically our closing costs are around $2,500 or so. We actually have a special program for teachers where we'll cap that at $1,550.
Wow.
So the total closing cost for teachers is $1,550. Now,
that's
if you're
about
referring
25% of the cost it would be in a normal sale.
Absolutely, and if you're using this to refer to another friend, their closing cost would be about $2,500 if they're not a teacher.
I see. So let's see. If you are buying a home, what would be the advantages to you of buying the home this way? First thing is you qualify.
Right, we can qualify.
Second thing is you can do it fast. Mm-hmm. Now, if you need a slower closing, you can do that.
No, we can absolutely work with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So it isn't like we got a gun to your head.
Right. Typically what I found is that when people decide, hey, I want to buy a house, and they're ready to buy a house, they're not very excited about having to wait 45 to 60 days to get into it. Usually they're like, ready to buy a house. Let's get this done. Let's buy a house today.
Yeah. Let's see. So people who can't normally buy a house can.
Yep.
You don't have to wait. Is the payment going to be a lot higher than it would be normally?
So the payment is probably going to be a little bit higher than through a traditional real estate loan. Typically, our loans are anywhere from 7 to 9.5%. So that is substantially higher than what the going rate is today in the market.
What difference would that make in the actual payment, though?
The payment, well, it's going to be higher. So it depends on where what the level is. If you had a 3.5% or 4% loan, your payment on a $150,000 house would probably be about $1,000 a month. And with us, it might be $1,250, $1,400, somewhere in there.
Got it. So it would be a little bit more, but
yeah, there's definitely a premium. If you can't get a loan traditionally, there is going to be a premium to buy a house through us, but we'll finance you, whereas it would have been hard to get a loan otherwise.
And as I understand it, you're going to be making your payments on your house, so you're going to be establishing your credit if you don't have it, and at some point you'll be able to refinance and get that down to
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we do. There's a few different advantages to us. One is we transfer the deed on day one. So you buy the house, you legally own the house. It's not a contract for deed or a lease option or lease purchase, which are actually illegal in Texas now.
Yeah, that's what people call lease to own. It doesn't
don't do
really
that.
exist.
Run the other direction if someone's trying to lease to own. When we sell a house, owner financing, you actually legally own the house from day one. So that's your big protection in the transaction. The next thing is we always use a licensed third-party loan servicing agent. So that's a long title for that's the person you make the payments to. Now, what's great about them is they actually report all of those payments to the credit bureaus, which in turn helps build your credit. And as you know from talking to your credit building people, the quickest way to build credit is by making mortgage payments on time. So by making their payments on time, they'll be fixing their credit, and they'll be eligible to do a refinance if they choose to do so. They don't have to, but if they choose to do so, after about 6 months, and then they could refinance to that lower rate, whatever the current rate is, and then save a lot of money per month.
And not only that, you're getting a tax deduction that you wouldn't get if you were renting.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can get a great tax deduction.
Yeah. So those are some real advantages. And so you have a choice. You can work on repairing your credit and getting it up, but it's costly and it may take a long time. And the real estate market is changing rapidly. So the same deals that you have available now may not be available in a year. Or you can buy through owner finance and do it now.
Yep, absolutely.
It sounds like a deal.
Yeah, if so, basically to figure out if you're qualified to buy one of our properties, the first thing is to check our website and see which properties we have available. The second thing is typically we get anywhere from a 7 to 10% down payment, so you do have to have a little bit of cash. And we discussed that the teacher grant is not applicable to buying a home from us. And then just give us a call. Come take a look at one of our properties, and you could be in your new home in 10 days.
We'll put your information at the end of the video, so write it down, teachers, and get in touch with Jeff.
Cool. Thank you, John.
All right. Thank you.